analyst Larry Merchant and our expert commentator Roy Jones as we get ready to follow the continuing comeback of former star Ike Quartey. Quartey, whom you'll remember from his career exploits 5-6 years ago, big fights against Oscar De La Hoya and Jose Luis Lopez and Fernando Vargas, a 57-month layoff. Now he comes back to his third fight in this continuing comeback. You can see that Quartey is 36 years old, but a lightly used 36, having taken nearly 5 years off. He's fighting 33-year-old Carlos Bojorquez of just outside Riverside, California. 2-inch height advantage for Bojorquez and a half-inch arm-length advantage measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. They're fighting in the 154-pound weight class, which Quartey says is the weight class where he plans to do business in this comeback. He's looking for another big-money fight with Oscar De La Hoya, and both fighters put on 9, 10, 11 pounds overnight to enter the ring unofficially tonight on our HBO scales, weighing 166. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Ike Quartey Carlos Bojorquez fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, non-title, using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Harold. Carlos Bojorquez, as you can see, has a middling record of only 4-4 in his last 8 fights. A full-time construction worker and full-time fighter in the Inland Empire area of California. He gets a chance to make good money tonight to fight Quartey, and he's exactly the kind of tough, physical opponent, Larry Merchant, whom Quartey has not enjoyed fighting in the past.
Quartey has shown some vulnerability. He was down twice against Lopez, twice against De La Hoya, and he, in fact, was down in his last fight. But Bojorquez, unlike Bernard Hopkins, can claim a true robbery, because recently there was a robbery at his house. They took all of his boxing mementos, including the shoes and trunks that he wore to beat Pernell Whitaker when Whitaker tried a comeback, and some jewels as well. So he has been robbed for sure.
He'll be trying to collect another boxing memory tonight. And when a guy is coming off a long layoff like Quartey, any serious fighter has a chance, right, Roy?
Yeah, any serious fighter has a chance. However, Quartey's chin always was susceptible to the big punch. So this guy has a good knockout ratio in his win percentage, and I think he has a chance, but we'll find out tonight how much of a chance he has.
21 knockouts in the 25 wins for Bojorquez, but he's lost 7 times. He's had 6 draws, and it is acknowledged that there will be a significant speed differential between the far more gifted Quartey and the slower Bojorquez. Why is he still working as a full-time construction worker while fighting full-time? Well, he's got a union job, and he makes $36 an hour.
I think he'll make a little bit more than $36 for this hour or whatever part of the hour we're watching a fight.
Here's one of Accra, Ghana's richest.
In the 9th round, he stormed back in the 10th round, and that was his statement that I want to fight. The hotels have been filled.
I can only imagine. Probably the second greatest and most famous fighter in the history of Ghana, exceeded only by Hall of Famer Azuma Nelson. Ike Bazooka Quartey against Carlos Bojorquez. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight DeBella Entertainment and Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. Sponsored by Rockstar Energy Drink. Party like a rock star. And IceLink Exquisite Timepieces. Presented in association with HBO Pay-Per-View. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Chairman Skip Avancino Jr., Commissioners Dr. Tony Alamo, John Bailey, Joe W. Brown, and T.J. Day, Executive Director Mark Ratner. Physicians at ringside are Dr. William Berliner, Dr. Jeff Davidson, Dr. Rodney Corson, and Dr. Todd Chapman. Timekeepers at the bell and counting for the knockdown seconds will be James Cavan and Steve Esposito. The three judges assigned to ringside scoring this bout on the 10-point system are Carol Castellano, Bill Graham, and Jerry Roth. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Joe Cortez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay of Las Vegas, let's get this party started. 10 rounds of boxing in the light middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white with silver, official weight 157 pounds. His professional record, 25 victories, including 21 knockouts, with 7 defeats and 6 bouts even. From Mira Loma, California, here is the IBA light middleweight world champion, Carlos El Elegante Bojorquez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue with white, official weight 155 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one, 36 victories, including 30 knockouts, with only 2 defeats and 1 draw. From Accra, Ghana, the former welterweight world champion, Ike Bazooka Quartey.
Okay, aquí al centro. All right, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Ya vi las reglas aquí en el camerino. Quiero una pelea limpia. Protégete en todo momento. Protect yourself at all time. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up.
Quartey, who is ranked already 5th in the world in the 154-pound division, wants to use this fight to project himself into a championship fight at 154, not as been often rumored at 160.
And I think that's the best weight class for him.
Does that mean that he would fight Winky Wright if Winky made himself available at 154?
Would be a very interesting fight to see, as a matter of fact.
And one reason is that they were friends actually in Paris when Winky was fighting in Europe, and he was coming up in Europe as well. And in fact, Winky's current style is a little bit sort of like his. You know, with the 2 hands held high, he's a little bit more aggressive, Quartey, but maybe something rubbed off on Winky.
It'd be an interesting fight because they jab from the same side, and both guys would be trying to take the other guy's jab away. Incidentally, Bojorquez is slow enough that at his peak, when he was really great, Quartey would have taken this kind of fighter apart with his jab and his jab alone.
Well, it looks like he's doing that now at the early part of this round.
Bojorquez trying to get to the body, and there's the jab, which you've already seen Quartey throw upwards of 20 times.
Bojorquez is using this jab also.
Up from a punch.
Some say don't jab with the jabber. Some say go ahead and use yours. It's one way to take it away.
Definitely neutralizes the combinations of the other fighter.
Quartey can use his jab to create distance. He can use it to set up brilliant
cut.
right hands, as he just did there. And already Bojorquez is bleeding, as Larry points out, from outside his right eye. Good left hook by Quartey. Looks much sharper early on here than was the case against Verno Phillips.
And the more he fights, the more he'll get back into the flow and the rhythm of the game.
Yeah, as for the knockdown against Phillips, he said, ring rust, no question about it. I didn't have reflexes. I wasn't ready for that.
But Bojorquez's nose shows that he's eaten a few jabs in his career.
Bojorquez came from Mexico to the United States as a teenager. He was not a boxer at that time. Took up fighting at 19. Exceptionally late for a fighter in this weight class. Exceptionally late for a fighter who comes out of the Mexican-American fighting tradition. Good little left hook inside by Bojorquez, who found an opening as Quartey dropped his right. Quartey fighting with a little grin on his face, as has been the case through much of his career. It projects an arrogance that can intimidate opponents. There's a good right and left by Bojorquez, as once again he catches Quartey with his hands down. And you can see the dramatic difference in speed, Roy.
Very dramatic. Ike has such a quick jab anyway, so even if it was a guy a little faster than Bojorquez, it would still look like a disadvantage, I think.
Hard physical round one. Most dominant weapon was Ike Quartey's piston-like jab. As we go to the corners, our interpreter in Bojorquez's corner, if they speak Spanish, is Ray Torres. And in the other corner, where they may speak the Ghanaian language, Ga, our interpreter is Fred Asifo.
Don't worry. It's a small cut. Just a little cut.
I see you're throwing your jabs very nicely, but it's a little slow. So try to counter his punches, okay? Let jabs flow. Stick to the jabs. And keep your right guard up anytime you throw your left. Go.
Quartey looking over to Roy Jones for reassurance between rounds. How well do you know him, Roy?
Oh, I know him very well. You know, he trained with me a lot in Pensacola, so pretty good friend of mine.
48 jabs thrown in round one, 28 of them landed by Quartey. Bojorquez tried 45 jabs of his own, but only landed 3. And Quartey, the easy winner of the round as a result of that. You heard Quartey's trainer saying, don't drop your right hand. He does it again, and Bojorquez nails him with the left. Every time Quartey drops the right hand and gets nailed with the left, he grins bigger.
But Quartey has always struck me as being, arrogant in a good way, and sometimes he just thinks he's so strong that he sort of has a momentary meltdown and gives an opponent an opening. He acts surprised when he's hit with a good shot.
They're like, how did that get through?
Well, it'd be particularly surprising to him if at any point he's hurt by a fighter with hand speed as deficient as that of Bojorquez. But on the other hand, as I said, Bojorquez is a hard guy, sturdy, tough, durable. He's going to keep coming, and Quartey doesn't like pressure.
And out of 25 wins, he does have 21 knockouts, so obviously there is a little power behind those slow punches.
Good left hook there by Quartey. He can hook off the jab, too. Hard right hand lead by Quartey. Well done.
Beautiful counter over the top of Bojorquez's jab.
And now Bojorquez once again takes advantage of the dropped right hand, lands a left hook, drives Quartey into the ropes.
Backhand.
By Bojorquez, warned by Joe Cortez for throwing a backhand punch. Quartey lands a right to make some space. A couple more punches like that and he'll be off the ropes. And now a good jab and straight right hand by Bojorquez.
Bojorquez is feeling that he has a chance now because this is the fight he wants.
He feels as though he's weathered the early jab storm from Quartey, and now he's in a position to pressure Ike against the ropes. And again, I make the point, Quartey doesn't like pressure.
Yeah, but Bojorquez is taking a real beating. His face looks like it's going to really bust up. He may be making if not a last stand, next to the last stand here.
Beautiful uppercut.
Good left to the body by Bojorquez, and now he grins back at Quartey as they trade again in the middle of the ring. Quartey's landing that right-hand counter more and more frequently now. Good uppercut by Quartey. Another good uppercut. Misses with the third one. It's becoming a brawl. And Bojorquez lands a right hand to the body that drives Quartey back. Bojorquez staring Quartey down as they disengage from a wildly entertaining round.
I drop that left hook after you hit him with that right hand. Come right back with the left hook.
Ike, anytime you step back and you hit him, close in on him. Close in on him. He's very, very slow. Close in on him anytime you hit him.
Here you see a beautiful left jab that drove Ike back a little, but it kind of caught him off balance. Then Bojorquez comes back with a straight right lead, another straight jab, and misses with a right over the top. With beautiful combinations by Bojorquez. Now you see Ike's beautiful right uppercut. The most effective punch of this fight so far, I believe.
Two of them in a row. He didn't see it, but he tried for a third one, thinking, hey, look, unless you're going to move your head, I should keep hitting it with the uppercut.
The thing I think Ike needs to do here, though, is definitely go to the body some to help slow Bojorquez down.
Yeah, because Bojorquez got off 95 punches in the second round. Quartey was 26 out of 60. Bojorquez 15 out of 95. Quartey with a little edge in power shots, but if Quartey's using his jab correctly, there's no way Bojorquez would get off 95 punches. And now, once again, Bojorquez is able to drive Quartey back into the ropes.
And that's the fight Bojorquez wants, because he has a better chance of landing the slower punches when he's at close quarters with Ike Quartey.
And there's no way he's going to be able to trade shots with him in the middle of the ring. But here, he keeps Quartey on the defensive.
And he is occasionally throwing a good body shot against Ike. So that's not hurting him.
Here's the laser jab.
Yeah, I would like to see Ike go to his body more.
Now Quartey moves after throwing the jab. Good jab to the body by Quartey. Bojorquez comes back with his own body shot and hammers Quartey with two overhand rights.
And Bojorquez is getting a lot more confident here.
And in doing so, he's luring Quartey into exchanging with him and brawling a bit. And in doing that, Quartey's giving Bojorquez continued opportunities. Now Quartey begins to move his feet and use the jab again. When he's in the center of the ring like this, he has big advantages, as he shows with a hard right hand and a good left.
Bojorquez is feeling like he's in this fight now, Jim, and it's becoming a very interesting fight as we get further into it.
There's such an arrogance in Ike Quartey. I think in some past fights he's had difficulty acknowledging to himself that the competition is as close or as heated as it is. Against Fernando Vargas, he seemed to believe that he ought to be able to own Vargas because of the difference in experience. But Fernando fought a smarter fight, and it was Quartey who faded down the stretch. Now Ike lands a right hand, and Bojorquez feels as though he can take what Quartey throws. Just keeps coming.
Yeah, Quartey landed a beautiful right uppercut there, and Bojorquez did go to the body again, which is what you want to see. I would like to see Ike go to the body a little bit more, though.
No pega con el guante de atrás, la parte de atrás del guante.
I didn't understand what the referee warned him for then, but it was something in Spanish.
I'm wondering if Bojorquez might have tried another backhand punch. He has a habit of just letting his hands go and throwing when Quartey's on the ropes because he wants to fight that fight.
Muy bien. No, 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 parte de atrás del guante, no backhand punching, okay?
All right, the cut is just a small cut. It's nothing. Yeah. Throw the uppercuts. And the left hooks, when first the hook and then the uppercut.
Here you see Bojorquez on the attack here. He lands a beautiful left uppercut, followed by an overhand right. And it's just, you don't want to see Ike stay against the rope and take those kind of punches. Those are the type of punches that makes Bojorquez think that he's back in the fight.
Is it ring rust that is keeping Quartey from elevating himself past Bojorquez in this fight? And what must Quartey do to reestablish the dominance he had in round one?
I don't think it's ring rust. I think it's the style of fighting. And I think this guy is has a very difficult style for Ike Quartey. And to reestablish dominance, he must use that jab that he started out using here. He can't let him fight against the ropes.
Quartey's 87 total connected punches in the fight so far, 57 are jabs. So in power punches, it's fairly close. But there is what happens when Quartey uses the jab properly to set up clean shots against Bojorquez. Harold, how do you have it into the fourth?
Okay, Jim, 3 rounds to nothing. 30-27, Ike Bazooka Quartey. Jim, I tell you something, rounds 2 and 3 were close, but Ike pulled it out with that jab. It's a very accurate jab. Now, let me answer your question. To be perfectly frank, I think that Ike Quartey is getting hit more than he should get hit because basically he's a straight-up fighter. He doesn't bob-weave. He doesn't bob much. He doesn't weave much. He's basically got that European style, and that's why a slow guy like Bojorquez can hit him.
Your take on that, Roy?
I agree with him as far as the straight-up fighting style goes, but he does move left and right a little bit, just not as much as he should. So
is it because of that straight-up fighting style in part that his jab is so effective?
Yeah, it is because of that, too. However, it hurts him when he fights an opponent such as this guy because this guy can put punches on him that he shouldn't be able to put on him.
Round 4 of a scheduled 10. Ike Quartey in command on the scorecards, or so it would appear, against Carlos Bojorquez. That's no huge surprise. Larry Merchant asked Bojorquez yesterday, do you have to score a knockout to win the fight? And Bojorquez said yes, absolutely, unequivocally. I've got no other way to win the fight other than to score a knockout. Now, once again, Ike Quartey, as has been the case frequently in rounds 2, 3, and 4, pinned against the ropes, giving the slower Bojorquez a chance to land at close range.
But I think he feels comfortable because his hands are so much quicker than Bojorquez that I feel as though he thinks he has the advantage here. It's not the best place for him, but he does feel as though he has the advantage here.
Double jab, and then a left hook at the end of it. Terrific combination for Quartey. So, again, he backs up against the ropes himself, giving credence to Roy Jones's suggestion that he's not uncomfortable with this.
Not at all.
Starting to put more punishment on Bojorquez, as was the case in round 1. "57 months off from the ring, third fight back, a rough physical test for the technically superior and faster Ike Quartey against the extremely willing Carlos Bojorquez." Just about a half hour ago, the middleweight champion of the world, controversially so after his razor-thin decision win in July, arrived here in the arena. Jermaine Taylor seems, to all outward appearances, to be a more confident fighter than the one who went in against Hopkins the first time around. Would that be good for him, or could it set him up for the fall? Some have suggested that Jermaine Taylor may have been changed by the privileges, the good life, the fat city element of having been world champion for the last 4 months. For his part, the small-town boy from Arkansas says, who are they kidding? Money won't change me. He had a great quote, Roy. He said, now when I go out in Little Rock or Hot Springs and anywhere in Arkansas, I can't pay for my dinner. I guess they don't think I have any money. Nevada State Athletic Commission Executive Director Mark Ratner informs us that the cut on Carlos Bojorquez' eye was caused by a punch, not by a butt. So if the fight were stopped because of the cut, Quartey would be the winner.
And he's back to establishing this beautiful jab of his again.
Looks quicker now.
Yeah, may have caught a second win or something.
There's a metronome quality to the way Quartey fights when he's going well. Jab, 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 jab. The same stuff over and over. It's so good you can't stop it.
And there are some of the beautiful body shots that I've been expecting to see from him earlier.
But the predictability of his pattern and his attack can operate against him in the late rounds of close fights. In his fight against Jose Luis Lopez, he was utterly dominant for 7 or 8 rounds until Lopez suddenly discovered that he could land the left hook straight right cross combination. Having learned that, he landed it over and over and over as Quartey wasn't able to adjust. Good right hand, 2 left hooks to follow. Straight right hand again by Quartey. And again, the hand speed advantage totally available and apparent between these two men. It's abundantly clear now, Roy, that Quartey is backing into the ropes deliberately because he's happy to fight there.
Yeah, he can see everything that Bojorquez is throwing. He can hit Bojorquez anytime he feels like it. I don't think he has no respect for Bojorquez's punching power, so I think he feels safer on the ropes than he does in the middle of the ring.
Coming back from a 57-month layoff, 3rd fight back. Good to be in a rough physical encounter?
Definitely. Helps you get rid of some of the ring rust. Makes him do things that he's not expecting to have to do in a regular fight.
Bojorquez has some chin.
A heck of a chin. And he's definitely outclassed here, but he's taking some very big punches. Legs are not even buckling at all.
Quartey may get a TKO, but it seems increasingly apparent he's not going to easily be able to put Bojorquez on his back.
Well, the referee is looking at Bojorquez now. I think he's worried about Bojorquez.
Oh, that was a tremendous right hand inside by Quartey. Bojorquez keeps on throwing.
He's not going to quit.
Look at Joe Cortez get down in a wide stance with his head between the two fighters to get the closest look possible. Quartey hammering the bloody left eye with straight, short right hands inside, and Bojorquez wobbling a bit as he goes back to his corner.
And I think that was set up by those 2 big body punches that he landed early.
All the jabs are coming in. You gotta avoid the jabs. Well, they're all hitting you. You're taking too many punches. Yeah, I'm here to protect you. You're taking too many shots. You gotta avoid the punches.
Here you see Bojorquez land this overhand right again when Ike was against the ropes because Ike dropped his hands before he tried to counter with the right hand.
Between rounds, Nevada State Athletic Commission Dr. Jeff Davidson got into the ring to get a good look at Carlos Bojorquez, and you heard our interpreter Ray Torres interpreting trainer Willie Silva saying, I'm here to protect you. You're getting hit too much. You're taking too much punishment.
And he did take a lot of excessive punishment that round.
Well, you've been clamoring throughout the fight for Quartey to throw the body punches, and as you pointed out, those 2 body shots earlier in the round set up a landslide round for Ike. Oh, look at the right hand counter.
You know, Bojorquez said he was thinking about retirement, and this fight came out of the sky, to use his words. A nice payday. But right now, there are a lot of punches coming out of the sky and landing right on his head.
Coming up from the canvas, too. Every once in a while, Ike's still mixing in the uppercut, which...
Ike looking at the referee as if to say, how long are you going to go on with it?
Like Roy Jones against Bryant Brannon in Madison Square Garden.
Well, Ike's worried about the blood from the cut, I think, on this guy.
There you go? Yeah, okay. Hold on. Okay, time in.
Roy, you think that Quartey can quit himself well against anybody in this division now?
Yeah, I think he can. May have to get a little bit more conditioning, work on his jab and his head movement a little bit more. But I think he'll do good against pretty much anybody in this weight division.
The body sure hadn't changed in the 5 years away. He's still a spectacular physical specimen. Richly muscled. Left hook upstairs for Quartey as Bojorquez levers to the body over and over. Bojorquez trying to make the one last stand again here, and Joe Cortez getting down on the canvas for a good look as Quartey continues to hammer Bojorquez with short right hands inside.
If Cortez doesn't stop it, I think maybe the corner will. Unless something dramatic happens here in the last 45 seconds.
Well, two ring doctors have looked at Bojorquez in the last 5 minutes. One on each side of the ring.
And I really think he's starting to wear down a little bit now because he's taking a lot of shots from Ike, but his face is starting to show the effects. Beautiful double hook by Ike Quartey.
His will isn't going to wear down, though. He's here for the duration, whatever it produces.
Sometimes in this sport, the wheel isn't the best thing for you.
Good left hook to the body by Quartey there. Excellent punch selection to stop Bojorquez in his tracks and give Quartey the room to go anywhere he wanted to go. Another excellent round for Ike Quartey against the still willing Carlos Bojorquez. January 21's our next pay-per-view. Let's see what's coming up.
Their first encounter was a thriller. Two gladiators who never back down, displaying raw power and fierce intensity. Now, three-time world champion Eric Morales and two-time world champion Manny Pacquiao are ready to do battle again. Morales, Pacquiao 2 in a 12-round championship bout. Saturday, January 21st, live on pay-per-view. Contact your pay-per-view provider to order. Morales, Pacquiao 2. Round 13 begins now.
Okay, we're going to go and continue because you're still okay. Yeah, but you're walking too straight. Move around, and the jab.
Round 7 begins.
And maybe Bojorquez's corner is hoping that somehow this hard pace will get to Quartey, but they're a little too brave for my taste.
Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Jim, 6-0, 60-54. Ike Bazooka Quartey, based on clean, effective punching. But I got to tell you something, Joe. Jim, Joe Cortez is definitely Joe Slick. At the end of round 5, he had the doctor in the blue corner, and the doctor wouldn't stop the fight. So in round 6, when he called time and he wanted to get the doctor in, he took Carlos Bojorquez to the red corner to get a different doctor. But unfortunately, that doctor didn't stop it either. 6-0, Quartey.
So you think that Joe Cortez was literally shopping for a doctor to stop the fight?
No question about it.
Well, he's tried 2 out of 3.
Well, he got a second opinion. That's all you can do.
Back in the days when he sat in your chair, Roy Jones, George Foreman was quite unequivocal over and over in saying that Joe Cortez was the world's best referee. What's your impression of it?
I agree with him. I think he's one of the best referees that I've seen in my time. He definitely cares about the care of the boxer, and he doesn't worry about what people think about him and his decisions. He's more out there to protect the fighters, and I think that's a brilliant thing.
The paradigm of what a referee should be.
However, some of us are stubborn and hard-headed and don't want to really be protected.
And there have been fighters in the sport who have said, well, Cortez is of Hispanic extraction, so therefore, of course, he's going to bend over backward to favor the Latino fighter. Logic tells you, of course, that Joe would do exactly the opposite, if anything.
Yep.
This is not a contest anymore, really.
It's an exhibition to see how far Quartey can come during the course of the fight.
Yeah, and Bojorquez doesn't show any signs that he could stop Quartey, so I don't know why this fight would go on beyond this round.
Well, if Ike keeps digging to the body like that, it wouldn't go on beyond this round.
chopping right hand over the top from the grinning Quartey. Some of the punches Quartey has taken from Bojorquez, he was willing to take in order to get in the returning shots. Bojorquez's hands are slow enough that Quartey can see everything coming, and of course, world-class fighters can, by and large, take almost any shot that they can see coming.
Exactly, and Bojorquez has lost a little bit of speed that he did have on his punches now.
Yeah. He's gone from slow to slower to sending emails about when his punches are coming.
Here is Bernard Hopkins wearing the headset in his own world as he arrived after Jermaine Taylor. Hopkins has clamored long and loud about the injustice of the decision that went against him in July and has used that partially as his motivation to get ready for this fight. But those who know Hopkins and have observed him over the years have absolutely no doubt that part of the uproar has been aimed at influencing judges to give him the benefit of the doubt tonight. Roy, will it work?
I think it'll work. I think it'll work, but I don't think it will come down to that. I think somebody's going to come out, be dominant, and win this fight all outright.
And while you looked at Bernard Hopkins making his bad-intentioned entrance into the arena, Carlos Bojorquez's corner was telling him that if he doesn't throw more punches, they'll go ahead and throw in the towel. So Bojorquez says, well, how about a low blow? Do you like that?
Well, he felt like Ike hit him with a low blow, so he hit him back in the same place that Ike hit him, which was on the belt line.
Which brings up another question, incidentally, about Taylor Hopkins, because Taylor's trainer, Pat Burns, says that his fighter fought too clean a fight the first time around, and most particularly that he wants for Taylor to hit Hopkins with a low blow if Hopkins does that early. Jermaine Taylor's not the kind of kid who will comfortably fight a dirty fight. Will he listen to his trainer's advice?
I think he will. I think he better listen to his trainer's advice. He's also not the type of fighter that will bring a recorder with a baby whining on it and say that this is Bernard Hopkins. So
he's been out of character already once this week.
And he may as well keep on being that way.
The problem is that Hopkins is so expert at it that you don't often see what he's doing. And if he tries it, it'll probably be flagrant.
Like it appeared to be here with Bojorquez.
As commentators, we always point out that Hopkins' great weapons are his straight right-hand counterpunch and his left hook, and then opponents would say, yeah, and the low blow, and the butt, and the elbow to the mouth, and the headbutt on the chin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and the kick, and the hip bump, and everything else you can possibly imagine.
One thing I must say was that when I fought Bernard Hopkins, I had not the first problem with any of that.
Well, you were too quick. I mean, it's not easy to find you if you don't want to be found.
We fought inside a lot, too, though. He had an opportunity to do it, but I didn't see it.
Maybe he respected you.
Well, and also he's become better in every way as a fighter, including that.
More professional. The reason we're talking about Taylor and Hopkins is because round 8 of Quartey Bojorquez is exactly like most of the 7 preceding rounds.
Yep.
And this is a matter of time and has been for quite some time.
You know, I don't like this. It's an accumulation of punches. They don't call Quartey bazooka because he goes out on a firing range. It's because he has a jab that's like a bazooka. It's a hurting punch, and he's hit his opponent 100 times with it at least.
I think they're just making Bojorquez earn his keep tonight.
Good call, Larry. He has landed 104 out of 230 jabs so far in the fight.
I was counting all along. Even when I took leave and went backstage to interview Taylor and Hopkins.
You were hearing the noises and counting the landed punches. Because Quartey's jab rings around the arena when he lands it on Bojorquez's face. Good left hook by Bojorquez. Drives Quartey back into the corner. Might be a good enough reason for Bojorquez's corner to choose to let him fight another round.
Give him some water. Let me work him. Let me work it. I'm okay.
Ike, you're very, very sharp. Let him miss. Let him miss. Okay? And stick to the jabs. Stick to the jabs. Ike, can you hear me? Ike.
This is about, close to 4 in the morning, I believe, in Accra, Ghana, and they're watching this live.
On the flat screen televisions in Quartey's 2 hotels.
And I'm sure they're playing it there.
What are your memories of watching Azuma Nelson, Roy? What are your memories of watching Azuma Nelson?
Oh, man, my favorite memory was watching him when he fought Salvador Sanchez. I think he was like 15-0 or something like that, and I never expected him to have a chance to even think about going 15 rounds. And he came out and he gave Sanchez one of the hardest fights I think Sanchez had. And from that point forward, I became an Azuma Nelson fan.
Absolutely. One of the most crowd-pleasing fighters of his era.
Outstanding fighter. He was never able to build a big following in the U.S. because he was a featherweight. He was not an American, but he could sure fight. Quartey did build something of a following because he just looked so strong, and he was in a division that American fight fans are more accustomed to.
Well, and he was ranging in on a De La Hoya fight, and it did take place. So therefore, he had the attention of the public because he was about to fight one of the most marketable persons in the sport.
And it was an excellent fight.
Tremendous fight.
Both of them down in the same round, and then De La Hoya put him down in the 12th round to clinch it.
Probably the single most dramatic fight of Oscar De La Hoya's career, along with, of course, his come-from-behind knockout of Fernando Vargas. Oh, brilliant left hook by Quartey there.
He's had a chance to polish all of his weapons tonight, that's for sure.
These are the most dangerous kinds of fights for fighters. Just an accumulation of blows, clean shots to the head, now for almost 9 full rounds.
Well, we were here, of course, for the Levander Johnson experience, and which led to the demise of Johnson in a fight where the opponent was strong enough to continuously hurt Johnson, but not strong enough to put him away. Jesus Chavez that night. Once again, the same profile. Quartey strong enough to continually hammer and hurt Bojorquez, not quite strong enough to put him away. That's how guys get hurt.
Yeah, but I think the referee is definitely looking at stopping this fight here sometime if Bojorquez doesn't change. He's watching very close. And
he's been watching for 3 or 4 rounds, and
I wouldn't fault Tony Weeks for what he did in the Levander Johnson-Jesus Chavez fight. I thought he stopped the fight at the obvious moment for doing so, but unfortunately, the worst happened.
You're just waiting. Yeah, you know, we came to fight. They're going to stop this fight. Come on. If you take more punches, I'm going to stop the fight. I'll give you one more shot. Come on, I'm talking to you. Pay attention. You got to take a chance. Go for broke. What do you think we came here for? You got to give it all, everything.
Gentlemen, it's been a good one. This is the 10th and final round, a round of applause.
An utterly superfluous 10th round, a round that does not in any way need to take place, will now unfold before us so that Ike Quartey can spend another 3 minutes hammering Carlos Bojorquez.
Perez implored the corner.
Cortez
implored the corner to stop the fight. They argued against it, and he went along with them.
Well, they explained the situation to Bojorquez, and he said he wanted to keep going. So,
hey, Levander Johnson wanted to keep going too.
Yeah, you know, there's a time when the adults have to take over.
If he gets caught with as many punches this round, I think the adult will stop the fight.
Well, it'll be the end of the fight.
Got to give these guys credit, though, for wanting to finish the fight.
Absolutely. I mean, look, let's not denigrate Bojorquez. You make a great point, Roy. Bojorquez is a hero for wanting to continue to do what the crowd wants to see him do. Exactly. And that's exactly the point Larry's making when he says it has to be somebody else.
Yeah, well, you can't expect the fighter to do it because he came here, he trained hard to finish this 10-round fight. And if he can finish it on his feet, he'd be happy with that.
And he didn't have to take that right hand if he wasn't fighting this round. A brilliant half uppercut. Swinging wide by Ike Quartey. Another perfect jab. Left hook right on the chin. And aside from the misshapen face, the blood, etc., Bojorquez still not showing any significant damage as he keeps coming forward and trying to throw.
And that's why the referees let him keep going.
Exactly, because the crowd paid money to see this kind of entertainment.
Is it entertaining?
To some.
I'm looking out there and I don't see anybody smiling or anybody happy over what's going on. They're just sort of sitting there and watching a butchering.
A lot of people, not a lot, but several people, Larry, complained to me about the stoppage by Richard Steele in Portland a couple weeks ago.
That was time.
And there's Joe Cortez making the necessary call with only 48 seconds remaining in the fight.
It was a left hook that staggered him, stopped him in his tracks for the first time, and Cortez did the right thing.
And there are some boos to Cortez for stopping the fight. But I was about to make the point. Several people complained to me about the stoppage of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Sharmba Mitchell fight in Portland, in a fight in which Mitchell hadn't won a minute. Mayweather had hammered him in every round, knocked him down twice. Mitchell's 8 points behind after 6 rounds, and people are saying, why did they stop it? So the bottom line is fans want to see action.
They pay their money to see blood.
That's right.
Sleepage.
Promoter Lou DiBella looking over the ropes to us as if to say, hey, how good did Quartey look? Roy, how good did Quartey look?
I think he looked pretty good, pretty impressive. There you see a right hand followed by a left hook, a double left hook, one to the body, which was most effective because he didn't hit him in the head with the left hook, but you saw his legs give. And those body shots were something that would have affected him a long time ago had Ike started a little earlier.
And that's the sophistication of referee Joe Cortez, understanding that the body shot was damaging enough to motivate the stoppage. And let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we give the official time, I would like to remind all boxing fans here the most important thing in this sport is protecting the fighter. The official time, 2 minutes, 12 seconds of round number 10. The winner by knockout victory, former welterweight world champion Ike Bazooka Quartey.
CompuBox numbers will show the dominance of Ike Quartey and specifically show the brilliance of his jab. He lands 269 punches, 195 more than Bojorquez. Bojorquez, who never stopped letting his hands go, actually threw 269 more punches than did Quartey. But look at the connect percentages. Comical, really. Quartey landing at 51% and Bojorquez landing fewer than 1 out of every 10 of all those punches that he threw. Power punches, Quartey 141 out of 251 for 56%. Bojorquez 56 out of 418 for 13%. That means he landed his jab at a significantly lower rate than that. Like 5